Hello, a very warm welcome today to Zoe Rice. Thank you so much for joining us, Zoe, in our Careers Week. As a short intro, Zoe is a social media expert for a renowned makeup brand, VIEVE. Zoe's always been very creative, even from a young age, and therefore she didn't necessarily know what direction that might take her in, but she always knew it was going to be something along the creative lines. I believe you studied theatre and English at school, and then went on to Bristol Uni, where you studied theatre and film. And you have always been fascinated by all aspects of film production, and in particular the music side, music production. Using these skills, you've created your first podcast in 2020, shortly after lockdown. And as I said, you now manage all social media for a very successful makeup brand, VIEVE, which I believe relies very heavily on the power of TikTok. So Zoe, welcome. Thank you again for joining us. You've obviously always had this creative streak. When did it first start to sort of manifest itself?
So, well, I can't remember. My parents are both very creative, so I was really lucky to kind of be brought up from a very young age, surrounded by art and music and theatre. So they very much encourage that creative side to me. I just remember, as many creatives, I'm sure, being in the classes like drama and music, I'd always just be having the most fun. Like I definitely wasn't going to be like a neuroscientist. That I just knew from the get-go that it would be something creative. So yeah, my parents encouraged it a lot. And so then I ended up doing like extracurricular drama and ballet and music lessons and things like that. So I just think ever since, I don't know, maybe I was like 5, when you first start school, I used to have play dates and do like dance performances or like whatever. So yeah, from a very, very early age, it just kind of manifested. And then as I went to secondary school, it was that kind of change from that extracurricular fun drama club after school to then being in the school plays and working on the school television channel and things like that then yeah, really, really made me interested in and go on to do it at university.
And from there, I mean, I think we've talked quite a lot about the fact that there's quite a big pressure on people to first of all decide what they want to study at A-level or IB. Then they go on and decide what degree to do. When did you start, I guess at university possibly, did you start to carve out what direction you wanted to go in? Did you have any ideas then?
Yes, well, I studied, I loved English at school. So I did that. And then it was kind of that picking apart analysis of like, of texts and scripts and poems and things like that I then, when I realized that I could do that to kind of film and television and drama, that really excited me. But annoyingly, I remember because there wasn't a film like A-level, which I found, which I mean, I'm hoping that there is something like that now. But I remember when I went to, so I was studying English, geography and drama for A-level, which I loved. And when I went to my Bristol open day to kind of look around the university, I went with my mum, and my mum kind of saw this like little advertisement for film in the theatre department, and it said like, have you tried joint honours with theatre and film? And I honestly had never even considered film or in that respect. I was very much drama focused, so I was like, I'm going to do theatre at uni no matter what. But we went to this one talk that was basically like a film lecture. They did like this film lecture, this prototype film lecture. And I remember they analysed a scene from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And I literally remember just being like, this is so cool. Like, I had no idea the lengths that could be gone to in like film analysis. It had always been like English essays or like drama essays. And I was like, I can actually pick apart, my favorite film or my favorite TV show. And I think that's when I got so excited and I was like set on Bristol, because I was like, there's theatre and film joint honours, and if the lectures are going to be like that, then I need to go there. So yeah, it was kind of it was a bit of, so in answer to your question, it was a bit of a surprise moment. But yeah, that's kind of how
and I guess that really is all about following your passion, isn't it? I mean, it is genuinely putting all your confidence in an area that's just going to sort of light a spark in you.
Yeah, 100%. I was a bit nervous, but I ended up actually preferring the film side. I think over my 3 years, maybe it was because I learned more, because I was used to drama and I kind of, knew the trade a bit. But film for me was the most exciting. And at the moment, it is still the most exciting. I think, with the rise of TikTok, Netflix, just everything is moving towards that fast-paced digital world, where I think I find myself most excited about.
And out of interest, so you left Bristol, and to the uninitiated, I might have thought you were going down as a film theatre route. Can you just describe a little bit about your journey post-uni that sort of took you to where you are now?
Yes, so we actually went into lockdown in my final term of university. No one knew kind of what was happening. And so what our professors said was, we need to put everything, that was going to be in real life onto digital, into a portfolio, a logbook of everything. So that would be, for both theatre and film, it would be, a storyboard for, it would be the music, it'd be the lighting, it'd be the set design, it'd be the script, it'd be everything. So we had to collate this portfolio. And I was in a group of like four of us, and we were all quite scared, but we started to pick up different things, because we had to take on like other, because usually at university we would have had like a lighting man to help us, or like a sound expert, but we had to do it ourselves. So I took it upon myself to learn a music production software, Apple's Logic Pro.
Yeah.
Just on YouTube. And in lockdown, I had so much time, so it was all I did. I just picked up on YouTube how to create sounds, how to create music, how to record myself, how to all these sorts of things. And I then created the soundscapes for both my theatre performance and my film.
Wow.
So yeah, it was so much fun, and we ended up getting really good grades, which I was shocked by, because I was just like, how has this happened? But it was actually so much fun, and it did not feel like work.
No.
Which was something, I'm a hard worker, but I was still just kind of like, this is just fun. Like, at night I'd be like listening to music, like just having the best time. And yeah, so I did that. And then, it was June 2020 when kind of left university, graduated, didn't have a graduation ceremony, sadly, but I did have that this year, which is another story. But I went into the summer, and I was like a lot of people my age, quite panicky. I think like it was so hard to get a job. All sorts of things were changing, people becoming redundant. Like it was a very chaotic atmosphere, I think, in the workplace, as everyone knows. So I just took it upon myself to do something voluntary, but kind of by myself, and I used the skills from my music production to create a podcast. So my mum had this microphone when she did a kind of sound course way back when. So I used this microphone and kind of wrote a little script and a kind of thread of what would happen. And I went to a friend that I know called Ellie, who is a leading activist in the field of like sexual mental health. So Ellie has a platform called SHAG, which stands for Sexual Health and Growth. And I followed it ever since, like, I think I think we were like 19 when she created it. So well before its time of like speaking openly about that kind of topic, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, so I asked if I could interview her about sexual mental health, about her platform, about her journey, for a podcast. And she said, of course. So I created a four-part podcast series with her and one other amazing woman called Soma Sarah, who openly spoke about her experiences of rape and misogyny and all sorts of things that, like all things that have happened to her in her life. And she allowed me to interview her as well about the platform she created called Everyone's Invited. And yeah, so I created this podcast, I released it, got really, really good feedback. It was, you know, it's not a light subject, but I think it's so important to speak about this kind of thing, especially I just left university. So I was in that kind of, I'd been subject to my own personal experiences and my own things, and that I felt that I just wanted to speak about as well. And it was quite a cathartic process, I think, as well. And a lot of my friends, my close friends, really enjoyed it. So that for me was probably the most important thing, that the people around me found some kind of like connection to it. But yeah, made some cool t-shirts and released it on Spotify, and donated the profits to some sexual mental health charities as well.
What led you to your current role? So your official title at VIEVE is social media.
Yeah, social and marketing executive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds very cool.
Thank you. So yeah, so I basically heard about this job, and I applied for it. I met my manager, I met the CEO, and they said they needed help for a little bit. They were just like, we just need some help getting off the ground with this new makeup brand that we're launching. In a couple of months, we need you to start off the social channels. And I was just like, yes, like at this point, I was just like, absolutely anything right now will be great, because I was, I hadn't had a job for 3 months because I've been doing this podcast, and I was desperately searching, but I said 100% yes, got stuck in, and it ended up just being absolutely amazing. I'm still there now, and I literally watched the brand grow from the launch day, and now it's 2 years old next week, I think. So it's just it's been incredible to see, and the volume at which it's grown and the kind of the speed at which it's grown has just been. This is obviously my first, it's my first proper. Being part of the brand, it's my first time being part of like a proper brand and a proper project like this, but I think it's better than all the rest. I mean,
my takeout out of your journey to your first job are a couple of things. I would highlight, firstly, initiative. I think that from the sounds of things, even when things like lockdown and opportunities were taken away from you, you actually went out and grasped other opportunities and made them your own. So I think initiative is really key. And I also think that kind of being open to things. So really just saying yes to things that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily have. Would that sort of be about right?
100%. I think that for me was, if you'd asked me when I was like 16, like, how is your career going to pan out? I would never have expected it to be like this. And that is not a bad thing whatsoever. Like, I think it's been so exciting. And I think exactly what you said, like, I've just said yes to things. And, that wouldn't be my message to younger people my age, is just be like, yes, 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 yes. Because you don't want to like overwhelm yourself. But I really think being brave, and I know that sounds cliche, but it's just true. Like, I think if you just throw yourself into things that arise and come up, like if there's an opportunity that comes up that, I'm not saying if you hate like maths, don't start, don't get involved with that, but I'm just saying, if there's something that comes up and you're thinking, oh, that could be something that I'm considering, just try it, because you never know what that then might lead to.
And can I just touch on your current role? Because I think social media for a lot of our sixth form listeners will be an area of huge interest, because everyone, you know, most people are quite attached to their phones and to their various social media accounts. We chatted a little bit earlier about ultimately you're a creative, and you know, that can be channeled down various different areas, social media being one. Do you think TikTok is the word of the moment, and I think has been a very powerful tool at VIEVE. Do you think it will have its day? What do you think's up next?
I don't think it will have its day. I think it has now established itself as one of the top social media platforms. Thing is, and this might be obvious for quite a lot of people, but with social media, you know, with these apps, they've all got a niche. They've all got something about them that's different to the other one before it. And I think that there's undoubtedly going to be an app in, who knows, 2 years, 3 years, that will, you know, come above TikTok potentially. But I really do think it's established itself next to the likes of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I think it's you know, it's a new thing, it's different, and it's only ever going to be TikTok. So I think it'll last. Sorry to people that don't want to hear that.
And do you enjoy? I have watched a few, I have to say, and you are very, very amusing in some of the ones I've seen. I mean, you're kind of front of camera and behind. I mean, the juggling of the two, is that tricky?
I think juggling the two of kind of directing and on camera is something that kind of came naturally to me from university and learning and doing drama at school and being in the plays, and also directing at university a bit. And so it's kind of just something that yeah, I mean, they go hand in hand. So yeah, I don't actually find that the biggest struggle.
That you are at VIEVE and your career's taken off. Can you sort of look into the future? Do you look into the future to the next chapter, or are you always living in the moment?
I'd say annoyingly a bit of both. In answer to your question, I feel like I think that, to be completely honest, I still don't know what I want to do. Like, I love what I do. I absolutely love it. And I've loved my journey to where I am, but I'm still like, you know, I can see my role progressing 100%, but I'm also like, I'm still young, and I think that there's still a lot of other areas of this creative sphere that I want to tap into. And I'm quite a kind of hyperactive in terms of I want to stick my finger in all the pies of like music and drama and film and TV. So the fact that I'm now in this social media world, like, I want to stay here for a long time, because it's huge and it's on the rise. But that's not to say that in 5 or 6 years time I don't want to be helping in radio, or like helping on TV, or working for a theatre. I don't know where it will lead, but I find that exciting. I do. So
and if you had to give a few words of advice to your younger self, if you were now in sixth form and so looking at the future, what wise words might you give yourself?
I think I would say, honestly, like, don't be scared, because I think, honestly, I think, being a teenager and being like a young woman and a young man, it can be a lot. It can be, you're trying to establish like who you are and like your friends and your relationships and everything. And I was self-conscious. Like, I did feel like a lot of the time I was like, what are people thinking about me? Like, what is happening? Like, is this going to affect what happens here? And I just wish that, and it's so funny because my mum told me this when I was that age, but now I'm telling my younger self that. But it's just, I wish that I just cared a little less and just went with it and was brave. So I think just don't be scared. Try not to care about what other people think, because ultimately it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks, just as long as you're happy and as long as you're going and doing what you love. I think that's what I'd say.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. A real inspiration. And I have to say, your energy is infectious. I'm gonna channel my new career off the back of it today.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Zoe. Really
having
appreciate
me.
your time, and lovely to meet you. And we will catch up with you soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks.